Okay, everybody's in here.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you, Cem? Hi.
Hello,
Hello,
nice to meet
everyone.
you.
Welcome.
Hello.
Jen. Hi, Marcus.
Hey, Marcus.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hello.
Nice to be here.
Marcus, almost ready for the summit.
Do you mean me or the other Markus?
Yeah, both
No,
Marcus.
no.
Both of you.
I'm
Yeah.
counting.
Hello, Christian.
Hey,
Hello,
Cem.
Cem.
Hey.
Hey, John. Great to
Hello.
have you all here.
Yeah,
That's
can you
nice.
hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, we can. Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. I'm very
Is it-
well.
I've
What
never.
about you?
Yeah, long days.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask. I never used. I had one, but I ordered it too small. But I see you have this fur around the microphone. Does it
Yeah,
actually help?
Yes, I changed it from the Amazon. There's this kind of things usually work in the wind also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You can buy one from the Amazon, I think.
Mm-hmm. So it works.
Yeah, it's Rode. The brand is Rode.
Yeah. I have one of these microphones, but I've never actually used it. Just once, but it had a lot of echo. I'm bad at these things. How do we get that? Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. I think the slides are in. We had a bit of trouble with the connection from Argentina to to us, but now it's there. David, will you do the screen sharing or?
Yes, let me do that.
So, Christian, I would like to apologize. I wanted to come back to you, but this last couple of days have been completely crazy on my side. I understand you're located in Berlin or in El Salvador? Oh,
I had so many noise here. I am in Salvador right now. Had you here?
okay. Very good.
So yes, I work with a German company right now. We are experimenting to create new products here in Cardano blockchain.
Very good.
And Simon the CEO will join soon to this meeting, so he can present.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay.
Nice to welcome people from my country, from Bitcoin country, huh? Or crypto country.
Yes.
All right.
Mauro is also back. So shall we kick it off?
Yeah, we kick it off.
We try to stick to the schedule because I know some of our presenters really have a tight one today. So let's keep it to the 60 minutes in total, and let's get started.
Hello. Welcome to another town hall, guys. And let's start reading our slides. I will start because I'm Italian, so I can read the first line. Benvenuti all'esperimento.
Les choses peuvent.
Gebra, fehlende Dokumentation.
Who's hopping in? Christian?
Maybe Christian, you can help us. You will need to read this. Differ greatly between iterations.
Sorry, I got confused a little here.
That's the purpose.
Yeah, we always do that.
This is our
the way it
tradition to
goes.
read in the team all this slide, and we have it in multiple languages. So maybe you can help us with the fourth bullet point and read that one for us.
Okay, so this is in French, right, or Italian? No, Italian.
It would be exactly the one after differ greatly between iterations, and
The
now
last
you
one.
have the next one.
The disorient, overload, and inspire one. You can read that.
Or you skip the other one, and then we just finish that because otherwise we might run out of time. Big heart.
All right, I think our goal is to provide a lively environment for you to explore the highest potential, and then
De la colaboración humana.
Nice, Mauro. Welcome.
Hey.
All right, guys, good. And with this, we move over to the European Town Hall mantra or European Cardano community mantra. And I think, Marcus, you would go through this one.
Yes. Always keep your notes up to date. Try to study or learn something new every day. Support and connect with community members for synergy and goals. be inclusive, friendly, and wise with words, even in anger, and share information without destroying dreams, people, or reputation. That's what we're here for. And if you need us, we're here trying to connect you. And yeah, help us grow.
All right, Mauro, you want
Just
to
to announce that there is a few weeks and some days ago will be the Cardano Summit. There is also 30 community-led events all around the world. So reach out in the website of Cardano Foundation to check the nearby and to organize it. And maybe you can find some of the European Town Hall people there, but maybe could be more surprises. Why not, Ricardo? What do you think? Marcus, what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I will be at the summit in Düsseldorf, which is like 3 hours from the location I am living. The same with Marcus, who is also in the line, Marcus Schütt, and some other members of the Web3 user group. Yeah, very much looking forward. Today in the X account, I posted that, yeah, we're going definitely, and some German people already reacted. So I guess it will be quite interesting, and very happy to have the opportunity to attend at least a community-led event this time.
And with me, I'm trying to join in the Netherlands. It's not sure yet if I can fit it into the schedule, and if there's still a seat free, right? It's been already booked out, as I have heard. Maybe some seats are getting opened, and if so, and if the schedule aligns with me, then I'll be there too.
And if someone is joining in Düsseldorf or in
I'm going to
Dubai.
the main event.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, hope the connection today helps. Are you hearing me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can
again.
hear it.
Okay. I will try to speech and hope that are you hearing? Okay. So if you see the conditions, the community will laugh about it. But I'm going to the main event in Dubai, and please come by because we have some surprises for you in the European Cardano community. So glad to reach out there. And remember everyone to take photos. If you see us, take a chit chat. How do you see the community? Give us feedback, give us information, what you would like to see in this community. So it will be a great honor to be there with each one of you, and hope to see you soon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very
Same
nice.
goes for Amsterdam, same goes for Germany. And with this, we can go to the next slide. All right.
Yes, we have taken tutor space in many languages. We're starting Monday with for the next one, and we will be more active with tutor space in several different European languages going on. So please join us, follow us on Twitter, X, and you will be surprised how many content we can produce. How much
We
content.
have, I think, a premiere for a country we never addressed before. There will be a Spain Twitter space coming up soon. And yeah, looking very much forward to that.
Yeah, in 2 weeks we should have, in less than 2 weeks, maybe next week, we should have one in Italian. That will be a good start again, because we used to do that quite often in the past, but we had some problems, so we stopped, and we are very glad to start again with that.
And then there will be one for Croatia as well. And this one will be also hosting some news about SPOs. So SPOs get the availability to present themselves in a very, very short and concise time, so that the delegators get known to the SPOs. And I was invited to kickstart the event, and then this is on another channel as well, where the SPO is going to get this opportunity. So great to be there as well. Cool. And today's guests are, amazingly, we have Wolfram Blockchainlabs as first one. Most of you have heard of them. They're an old cornerstone in blockchain, but not everybody understands or knows what they are actually doing. But have the feeling that they're important. And I'm happy that John is with us today. And the stage is yours.
Hey, great. I didn't realize I was going to be the first person. So I'm like squeezing this into like meeting people in Des Moines, which is about 90 minutes away. So I'm actually going to pull over so I can give you guys my full attention. But I can certainly do the introduction to Wolfram Blockchain Labs. So we've actually now been around for almost 6 years.
John, would
Yeah,
it be
go ahead.
better for
Yes.
you if we push it a bit more to the end?
So it would be like if somebody could go like before me now and then we go
Yes.
like right
Sure.
after them. Yeah, that
Sure.
would be great. That would be
Sure,
great.
we can do that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we
Jam?
can go for Littlefish, maybe.
Yeah. Which is wonderful.
Okay.
But you're ready?
Somehow I was prepared.
Otherwise we could Otherwise, we could
Yeah, it will be
continue.
better for me to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go
Thank
on with Delos.
What about Unlearn?
Thank you.
Cool. So I guess with that, I'll basically start with showing off what I've been working on. Mostly like I'm a single person working on that project, and I've been focusing more on writing up the contracts and the code for the last months. And it has been like a personal passion project in a way, since I was trying to find a project I would like to work. And then it was like an idea that came to me that something like a proposal-based system would be exactly what I want. I would want at that moment to be able to construct and build in a way what I want and be rewarded for it. And in a way, Catalyst was that for me. And I have submitted the proposal in the previous Catalyst. And even though I was not really confident in submitting a proposal there, RAM and everything, it happened, and it showed why a more system, maybe for like smaller people and smaller groups, is beneficial. And that's what I was building during this time. So it's basically like a proposal governance system of a treasury. And recently I went with Icon, and it's been great actually moving out from Bluetooth and Haskell, and it has literally been pretty great developing with Icon. So I've been able to finish the first implementation of it, or I could show you now. And as well, everyone can go and run it and see how it works with this installed.
Christian, sorry to interrupt, but for the people that are not, let's say, technically versed, could you give a very short explanation what Icon is and why it is so helpful for you as a developer?
For me, it was a lot of quality of life changes, like a lot. As well, I was writing with the LSP of Haskell and with Vim, and that was a struggle always to set up with Haskell and Bluetooth. So quality of life has been a really great thing, and a lot of copy-paste code that you have to like, in a way, struggle to make work in the Bluetooth contracts with Icon has been made more easy and more on Rails in a way. And you just have to worry about writing your validators. And as well, making it easier to interact with off-chain frameworks.
Thank you.
Cool. And before the connection broke, you had I think a significant sentence around what you're trying to build for the little man, and just before the little man, the connection broke for a second.
Yeah, I was saying mostly that I believe that I don't know, in a way, Catalyst is doing its job. I can see why, from an economical perspective, projects that have like bigger and more safe economic investment objective, like for the bigger holders and everything would get that voting, but that doesn't make it fair. So I believe a grassroots system like Catalyst is needed in the community, and a social layer needs to be built on top of the Cardano, the Cardano blockchain. And it should be built by people and holders and groups, and it should be built around smaller groups as well.
Cool. Thank you.
So I feel like a goal of Unlearn is it's the decolonization and building a post-capitalistic world. And that tends to be the organizational layer for cooperation between self-governing groups to foster and blossom into a cultural renaissance, promoting inclusivity and collaboration. And urging you to do your research and see the evil that is being done, because this is what, as humans, we should come together and stand against. If we understand of what we are preaching, Web3 and crypto is, we need to connect the social and layer back to the protocol, as to not let it be invading again by the few that share the wealth. So yeah, with that, I guess I'll show you a demo of how it works with a simple, like some commands. Basically, I have no UI and UX. I recently managed to make it work, and how it works is that basically everyone can go and create a proposal through a smart contract, and that proposal is represented through an NFT, which it has some similarities with CIP68 and how like NFTs hold data, and that data can be like the metadata NFT, in which case it holds the data of the proposal, which is the proposal. And with that,
connection broke. Just the connection broke for a second. In which case it holds the proposal, the metadata?
Yeah, it holds the proposal's data or metadata, which is the proposal, the amount that is asked, and general information about it. And it is then voted to update this state with if the proposal is approved or not. And then with the amount that is on the proposal written by the original proposers, the person can go and validate and claim that exact amount from the treasury. So a visual representation here would be to first to make the proposal. Which, yeah, basically, and that's for 100 ADA, for example. In this example as well, 200 ADA are sent in the contract in this transaction, which is basically to be able to draw them back for the reward in the end. So for testing reasons, and it can be taken out in the code if you would like me to.
So for a layman, what is it that you're doing currently? For somebody who has no coding experience?
Yes, give me a second. So now what I did with this command here is build a transaction and submitted it to the Cardano network, which the code for it could be seen here, which is the minted transaction, and this here, which is basically used to get through the validation process of the validator and mint this NFT, which is the proposal. And this is what happens here with this proposal. No, that's not it actually. It's
so you're submitting an actual proposal for example, Catalyst on the blockchain.
It's for a treasury, which a treasury then this validator will hold an amount like a treasury like catalyst, and through this proposal system, everyone can make a proposal and claim money from that treasury.
So it's similar to a bounty system in which decentral steered people can put in like rewards. They are locked in a contract, and then I guess there will be a second step where there is another contract, smart contract step that allows the claiming if certain conditions are met, I would expect.
Correct. It's actually one smart contract, let's say, and it's basically a validator that allows the minting of the proposals, and as well then the validation to update the proposal so that it has the result, and then the validation as well that the person can claim that amount stated on the proposal from the treasury. You can go and see it here, and it's open source and it's free for everyone to use.
But it means that there are still some steps which are off-chain, where the person who put up the work package still has to judge whether this has been accomplished or not, or how does that step take place?
No, that's the thing, is completely on-chain and autonomous.
Okay.
So it will be done. So as you see here, in this is the transaction that I submitted. Give me a second to submit the other ones, since it takes a bit of time for the testnet to submit them, so we don't have to wait later. Yeah, anyways, I'll talk about it later because it's the update part of it. So yeah, I'll talk about it later. So
just mention we only have about 5 minutes or so left.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. So as you can see here in this transaction, there were 3 NFTs minted. Let me make it bigger. There were 3 NFT minted. It was the original transaction, the Genesis transaction. So the first NFT is minted as well, which is basically the state of the whole DAO, and it holds in a way the transaction ID of all proposals, which it can be considered like a blockchain in a way, or like a chain of proposals. So it is all on chain as well, the minting of the proposals. So here we minted proposal 1, proposal R, which is the NFT minted to validate that you are able to update the results, and the proposal 1 claim, which is the NFT that is needed to validate that you can claim. The proposal 1 is locked on the validator, and it holds the data of the proposal, as I said before, which is here, which is basically the proposal here, which if we translated it from bytes to text, it would be what we wrote in the transaction building before. This is the amount, and this is the result, which is basically empty. And the other 2, the results can go to the address, the validator, or anything that you choose to have as a voting mechanism. This can be a multi-signature wallet that can then submit this result NFT with the results that they want to vote as, and update then the proposal, which is happening in this transaction. Yeah, here's the number, pretty basic UI, I guess. So type Y for yes and N for no, basically yes. So we'll vote yes here. And this is a transaction hub, basically, which then we can go here and find when that finally loads. So I hope Cardano pre-prod goes with the timing as well and submit the proposals in those minutes. So
what do you want people to do now at the stage where you are now? What is it that you expect from the community? Because you've been building this, you have your goals in mind, and how could the people now approach you best, or achieve something that would be of value for you, so you could actually put that out to the community in the way you want it?
Yeah. So basically, as I was said, like I applied for funding on Catalyst and I didn't get it. It was downvoted as well as a lot of proposals. And I believe this is something for the community to like build and grow with together, build a collaborative that is gonna take on and like grow together. A first implementation of that is considered for creating a writer's guild for the Disco Solaris project. Recently, it has become a community-run project, and we think it would transition into an era of community governance creation, allowing anyone to be a creator in a lot of the projects and to get rewarded for it through a proposal-based treasury management system, like the one I'm showing here, where either the creators themselves, which could be the holders of approved proposals, the readers, maybe through some lore quizzes or time frame for the vote, or the holders can decide on the universe progression or giving an opportunity. In a way, Unlearn is a framework as well, which can be used by anyone, because it's an open source code. But yeah, as well, because it's with the way that is formed with needing an NFT to validate and update the proposal state, this NFT can be sent to any script address that can be hard-coded or soft-coded in the code of the validator that anyone can like copy and clone. So it can be like anything as a framework as well. So here, as you see in this transaction, which was the update, the proposal 1R, which are the results, was burned. And basically what happens is that the proposal NFT that is locked in the validator, the state is updated, and on the validator now it's voted as approved. If we voted NaN or no there, it would be voted as disproved. And then the final step is for the person that makes the proposal, if it was voted approved or not, is to go claim it, which can just do the same thing as the validation as here, to burn the proposal 1 claim NFT and basically retrieve the funds from the treasury, completely automated, permissionless, and community decided.
Nice. So the best way to see that in action would be actually then in this case, on this Disco Solaris currently, if I understood that right?
Built on right now as a first implementation, yes, and as well anyone that would like to cooperate on something and build out Unlearn and like a collaborative project like that is of course like something that I'm interested in. And as Unlearn is as well like a studio, just basically another productive studio and all that. And I don't want to be taking ownership of anything in that, because it's basically an open source and collaborative project in its nature, even though I've been the one until now writing the code and doing all that.
Okay, perfect. I would say if there are questions until the transaction runs through.
So here's the transaction. The 100 ADA that was at the beginning minted are withdrawn from the contract, and the proposal claim is banned. And the proposal will live on chain, locked in the validator, and at a later point, even like some artwork could be displayed for the person that was the approved proposal proposer, I guess, and that could hold even voting rights, building like a collaborative and inclusive project, basically.
Very cool.
Nice. Are there questions from the community currently?
I see a question from Mauro in the chat.
Oh, sorry.
But
But it's not for you, sorry.
I got too much into talking. And
It was a little bit above, and he was asking which library did you get the code?
sorry, what?
Where did you get the code from?
It's your
No, because he said that he copied. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
He said that he copied the code, and maybe it will be useful if you use a code of an open source project, or where do you get it? Because sometimes these codes are really, really helpful, that someone's implements a tool on their DAO or something like that. That's why I ask, because maybe you can say, I do it, but I heard maybe the connection went lost and I heard it bad, but that you copy and use the code of another person. Is that right?
I didn't copy the code of anyone. This is the code I wrote.
Okay.
That everyone could like copy and clone the code as in Git clone, and basically create their own contract with that. And for example, hard code, for example, on the on-chain contract, maybe an address that they would like the proposal results NFT to be sent, for example, to be sent into a validator that has a specific voting script, or even
Wow, you
another.
developed all these by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, marvelous.
We have a question from Simon, and then I would say we go on. But this is amazing, Delos. This is really good. And I think for the wider audience, we need maybe some easing in the explanations, because that's where developers usually go much into the technical details. I just recently was on a tech talk where there was so much technical that even the techies didn't understand it. The co-founder had to explain it, drill it down to the easier part. So everybody was relieved in the end. But I'm happy that you understand both perspective, and working with Disco Solaris is probably a really good catcher, because not everybody's technical in there. But great ones. Simon, do you want to post a question for yourself?
Thanks. Yeah. This how do you say it? Icon? That looks yeah, looks interesting. Looks nice to read. I mean, this is maybe an ignorant question, but how is this different to the current voting on Catalyst projects? Is such a system not used yet?
I believe that the current Catalyst system, first of all, is not automated as well, and is not how is it? Not the results are not shown on chain, or it's not completely on chain. It's random.
Okay.
So I feel it is a problem, and I also believe that the project selection in Catalyst is more focused into, I wouldn't want to say company-like projects, but in a way it is. So I feel like open sourcing and giving the opportunity to people to build smaller guilds, or like smaller collaboratives, which they can then create their own. Sorry if I get stuck sometimes. Treasuries, which they can manage through proposals, and give the opportunity to their communities, or for communities to be built on collaborative and purpose-driven development, either that be artistic, cultural, or development. It is a powerful tool, and I feel it is important to connect back the social element that sometimes we forget about in the blockchain.
I have one other question. You said what you could do with the NFT afterwards. Could you explain that a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Currently, as I said, like, this is a first implementation. So, for example, the NFT that holds the proposal is basically only kept in the validator as a chain of events, because each proposal is a chain. It comes after the other, and it's probably which have passed and which not, and how much they have claimed. So at a later point, for example, in the last transaction, it could be like minted an artwork commemorating the person that made the proposals, which maybe can then like give to them a secondary income, or maybe even that can work as a digital identity of some sorts for people that have actually made proposals, allowing this protocol then to be governed by the people actually working and building it out. And for example, in the writers' guilds, those could be like the people writing the lore. So as to like,
I think it's a very revolutionary idea, and unfortunately, we're running a bit out of time. But would it be possible that you start a thread in Discord, maybe in our European Cardano community town hall, and you let the community put in some ideas? Because I think it is fascinating to think about what all could be possible and how much transparency we could generate. But also there are some challenges. For example, you know, for a voting, you also need some kind of privacy reserving or preserving mechanisms because you don't want to make it everything completely public. You need to do it still trustworthy, but still somehow privacy preserving. But thank you very much. And I think we should now move on.
I just want to chime in for one. I want to chime in for one thing. That what you said in the last part is a debate that is currently going on, how much privacy should be in there in the voting mechanisms. Okay. But yeah, I agree. There's the project channel. I send you that link, and with that we have to transition because the other ones need to proceed with their time as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Delos. A very nice.
Maybe both founders are probably a good transition partner here, because you need, in that what you do, you need law at the end to make the smart contracts in a good way. That's Littlefish. And then you need analytics to evaluate the smart contract in a good way, and what you can do to have great foundations. I don't know who of you, John or Chem, is willing to start now. Make it with between the both of you, if you would like to.
I can start if you want. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry to have the pullover thing. Yeah, go ahead. You can go.
Okay, great.
And while we are at it, sorry, one last one. Let's say quickly hello to the Vietnamese community, because that's what we promised. If we could say on 1, 2, 3, a little hi, or whatever you want to say. I think we have that part been fulfilled. Like, do we say, oh, he's also Quasar?
So we say hello, Cardano Vietnam community, or Vietnam Cardano community. Okay.
Quasar, turn your camera on and your microphone, and everybody who's in there, turn it on for 1 second. Boaz, we love to see you. Christian, Dylan, Emir, Merve, Martin. Hey.
Hey, Martin.
Oh, nice.
Join us for 1 second and say hello to the beautiful Vietnamese Cardano community. On 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hi.
All the best. European Cardano Town Hall.
Greetings.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Chaotic. Cool. Who's gonna start? That was Chem, right? No, John.
Who's gonna start? Who wants to take over? Let me.
Yeah, I can go if it's me that's up.
Okay.
So, of course, hello everyone. I'm John Woodard. Up to run Wolfram Blockchainlabs. We've been around for about almost 6 years now. Cardano was one of the first ecosystems we kind of started it on. We work on a bunch of blockchain ecosystems, building a lot of infrastructure. In many ways, that's kind of integrating the nodes into Wolfram language. So that means we host and run nodes, both mainnets and testnets, and connect them to Wolfram language. So you can go to Wolfram blockchains, and you can see all the documentation on how to run different queries against different ledgers that we support. There's lots of documentation about all sorts of things that you can do to both read transactions and also write transactions to the different chains that we support. So that's really the core thing that we do. And then on top of that, we build applications ourselves. So we build analytics applications, and we're also building an Oracle application. You can kind of see like some of the stuff that we have available on our GitHub. We're also building applications that we've either done applications or research through Cardano Catalyst. We're now just put our last final report in, I think, so that we are up to date, I think, entirely. The last one's like around RealFi research, which was pretty amazing and interesting. So we've done a lot of stuff around those different things. In terms of different projects, the current project, we got 1 out of 5 for the latest Fund 10, and the area is in AI, which is super interesting, of course, to me, because I'm also doing a lot of AI related research myself. And a lot of that's kind of when I came into Wolfram as a company. I started work on Wolfram Alpha, and I actually just finished working on my graduate work, which I did a master's in biomedical engineering, and I did computational neuroscience. So I was like really into like AI and other stuff. So I started work on Wolfram Alpha. So it's kind of been interesting to see like how that's kind of gone full circle. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit about Wolfram Blockchain Labs. Maybe I should say a little bit about Wolfram. We've been around for about, 36 years, I think. I hope I get that right. Founded by Stephen Wolfram, who's the founder and CEO. Interestingly enough, he just gave a TED AI talk. I think it was last week, about a lot of the new trends in around generative AI, some of the stuff we're doing there, and some of the stuff that like people should like expect to see. He has a really great blog post about understanding how Chat GPT works, and which is like so exhaustive that was basically turned into a book, and it's one of the better explanations that's out there. We also did videos around that. Our flagship product is Mathematica, and then another really big product that other people have seen is Wolfram Alpha, which kind of pushed our direction in creating a knowledge-based programming language. And we really center around everything that we do around what I would say is computational intelligence, which I kind of like to describe computational intelligence as kind of taking all the knowledge in the world that we kind of know as humans, and to a lesser extent that machines are able to connect, and making it computable. And then by making it computable, we're making it programmatically accessible. So then you have things like AI, like whether it's Wolfram Alpha or LLMs, can actually access and use, which is incredibly important because when Wolfram Alpha came out, it was a way to query and interact and do computation through natural language, which is really incredibly important. And one of our, I would say, areas of improvement was the ability to do better natural language understanding. And then along, 10, 12 years later comes LLMs that have amazing natural language understanding and have the ability to communicate with other services actually in natural language. So when you're doing a prompt, you're just interacting with this AI in natural language. So this gets closer to something that we'd like to see over time, which is actually communicating in perhaps Wolfram language, because Wolfram language was created to be really this batteries included language, being consistent across all the areas that it supports. So maybe AIs could speak to each other in Wolfram language. Stephen has another interesting blog post in like 2015. If I was like better organized, I would have these links to like put up. So it's really kind of fascinating, and that's like the latest things that are going on like within Wolfram. Stephen also has his physics project, which he's kind of doing on the side. looking at fundamental theories in physics, which is crazy. So those are a lot of the stuff that's going around in Wolfram, and that's like what Wolfram Blockchainlabs does total. And then I talked a little bit about Wolfram, what Wolfram Blockchainlabs does with Cardano Catalyst, maybe like a lot of what we do there. So maybe from there I should talk about like where we're headed in terms of projects on Cardano. Maybe that's the most interesting to people. Just pipe up on what you'd like to hear about.
Maybe John, if I may ask one question related to oracles, because I think the type of data, if I think of Wolfram Alpha, you collect data about basically anything and everything, right?
Yep.
And if I think about DeFi, RealFi use cases like insurances, this type of things with social, economical data, etc. How do you take this aspect of decentralization for oracles? Is this something that Wolfram is looking into?
Yes. So yes, we've looked at it. We actually have like a lengthy kind of comparative kind of review in the works. I won't really call it a paper, but like review. You can also look at I think some of the things that we've done in our GitHub or associated GitHubs, working on sample contracts for Marlowe. So you can kind of see a lot of like the stuff that we've done around that. We're doing more in that direction, and we're getting ready to go from like show like more of the prototyping things that we've done as far as Oracle work for Cardano and Oracle work for other chains, and publish that on GitHub so people can play around with that and kind of use that and see like where we are with that. And then we want to expand that. Actually,
just 1 second.
Yeah.
I think somebody is sharing a screen.
I am.
Yeah. Okay. So
not anymore.
It's good.
Okay.
Just sharing his messages.
Oh, okay. And then we'll do that in terms of probably Fund 11 even, like show more. So, but when it comes to kind of looking at decentralization, we're actually going to write more of our point of view because it's a little bit different than what other people think in a way. So I'll represent like my personal point of view only, I would say. This is my personal point of view only. Yep. And that decentralization when it comes to knowledge is actually really difficult. And I think it has its own unique requirements, and we have to be considerate of those requirements. So for example, if you're looking for pricing data on a stock, there's a canonical listing for most stocks. It's like NSE listed or NASDAQ listed or London Stock Exchange or Hong Kong or whatever. They control the data completely, and you make a deal with them and their data. And then you can have kind of the bridge for getting on chain being decentralized. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So that's kind of how I would look at it. And I think that that's kind of something that might stand in the way of how people view decentralization in some ways. And also kind of highlights in many ways that a lot of the things that people choose or want to do are much more of a spectrum than like something that's binary.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how, again, like I would look at it. And so how we approach it is that Wolfram Alpha now, we have it containerized and large customers can basically run the whole thing. So there's nothing stopping us as we build from people running the whole thing. Now, they may not see everything that's inside the black box in a way, but they could run it entirely in their own infrastructure. And they could see kind of what's going in and what's going out in a way. So it's kind of like there's a spectrum, and for us, it's kind of like we've slowly built along, like from kind of building our infrastructure to building prototypes to now figuring out how we want to go, to understanding like compromises that we'll have to make, but also knowing that we can at the very least run it in a distributed way that people would maybe accept, maybe they don't accept, but in many ways that's kind of life. Like if you look at different blockchains that are out there, everyone has their own metrics around what's the acceptable amount of decentralization to meet some threshold. So that's how I look at it. That's a very long-winded answer to your question.
Thank you. Very interesting.
So does that mean, maybe I didn't catch it before, that I as a company could now ask you and say, okay, well, in the future, could I set up my own node and not depend, or and improve my machine learning AI mechanisms, whatever you want to define it, or whatever purpose I want to define, with Wolfram?
Yeah, I mean, so there are companies that do that now, that have a private enterprise version of Wolfram Alpha now. They're 3-letter agencies that run their own Wolfram Alpha now.
Cool.
So, you know, all of those things are absolutely possible. So when I say that, like, thinking about it in a distributed way, that's absolutely possible. We have companies that do that. And we have, like, you know, Fortune 10 companies that have done that sort of thing in the past as well. So that's absolutely a possibility. The question becomes, you know, is that trade-off reasonable? Because if you have a certain level of transactions that are small, it just may not be worth it. Just like at a certain point, like security isn't necessarily, like overkill on security isn't worth it if the worst case scenarios are not, you know, totally bad. It's like, you know, how people have, this is probably a horrible example because I'm not a security person. They might get really upset. But driving, I'm in Iowa. So like I'm pulled over at this Casey's, which you guys are all European, I'm supposing, so you don't know. It's like in the middle of nowhere basically. And like there are farms like right around me. But as I was driving, there was this farmer has alpacas and he sells alpaca poop. And he just has bags out there and has a jar and is like, if you take one, pay me the money. Right. So I'm just saying that as an example of that versus like a bank, right? The level of security may differ. That's just my naive personal view. So we also have to think about that as we build infrastructure, building the appropriate amount of infrastructure, given the stage we are. Because like that's one of our internal struggles in many ways, because we haven't done tokens. We'll probably never do tokens. So we're in a different situation than a lot of other folks in that we have to figure out how to be sustainable with our projects and sustainable with what we're doing as like a subsidiary. So that's part of the reason why we participate in Catalyst and other communities, because we have to figure out how to be sustainable. So when you look at things like that, it's making sure the appropriate level given where the transactions are and where we are. Otherwise, we will totally overbuild, and then we wasted opportunity, cost in terms of doing other things that might have been way better. So that's a very long-winded answer to your question. Yes, we can do that. Yes, we've done that. But I'd always say, let's consider what's appropriate given the transactions and current use cases.
Okay, so it's not for everyone. And do projects come to you and say, okay, this is what I'm trying to build, or this is what I'm having, and then you tell them, okay, yeah, it would be okay for you, or this would be just an overkill?
Yeah, so where we are now is that we have done a lot of this prototyping stuff on Marlow for Cardano. Specifically, we have contracts that work on Ethereum, but we just have never released them or worked on the kind of consistently worked on to release things on Ethereum. Where we are now is like we actually have some very solid use cases that we want to try on Cardano. So we're working on those, and we'll put those off on probably Fund 11 and talk way more about those like in detail and show more of this other stuff that we've put together kind of comparatively. The other thing is that we're kind of had this other project that we're disappointed that didn't get funded, but we're just working on it anyway because it's kind of a critical component of Oracle, like computable data, and that's a real-time pricing data project. So you can look at that in like Fund 10, but we're still actively working on that. We just had to slow down the pace of that. But that's something that should appear like in our GitHub relatively soon. I would say maybe like a month or 2 months. And that is an open source project where we will release that code so people can play around with it and use it in a decentralized way. Again, though, it comes back to if you're like, and so that pulls data from centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges across a bunch of different blockchains. So not only Cardano, but also Ethereum, other blockchains, and then creates APIs that people can use to access whatever trading pairs. We're also going to try to connect that to identifying sources of tokens like ITSA.global. They have an identifier for tokens to make it easier to connect different pairs and then think about different pairs across different dexes to be able to think about pricing and aggregate, which goes back to someone's earlier question about RealFi and DeFi. That makes more of those things possible because now you have these different pricing feeds that you want to use and have the ability for people to make selections across how they might want to aggregate and think about those pricing feeds. Yeah. So we have that in motion. We're working on that. It's something where it would have been great to get like support for that because that would help, but we're doing it anyway. And we're like, even putting like personal money in to like make that, to push that forward. Because that will be like really, I think, very useful for people. And then that supports, you know, more of getting an Oracle service that will also be like one of the other things that we did as far as cross-chain stuff that will make more cross-chain things possible because we're not only taking data from centralized exchanges, but we're also taking data from decentralized exchanges across different chains. So it makes a lot more possible, a lot more pairs possible. It's just a question of going from like prototyping and looking at like a small number of pairs and a small number of dexes on chains to just ramping that up to have more of that information. And then you're making more of those things available. John, so hopefully that goes back and also answers that question.
Definitely. Unfortunately, I think we need to move on, but I think we could, we have so many questions to you. Was wondering whether you would be willing for doing maybe a smaller round, like a one-on-one or two-on-one.
Yeah, sure.
Share your screen, maybe at a better point in time where you have access to your computer, because I think there are so many things to unpack there. Yeah, we will contact you and maybe we can set up something in the next weeks. That would be
awesome. So what I would say, if people are really like fascinated by what I was saying about like the real-time thing, just look at our Fund 10 proposal. Okay. And there's a presentation. I think I may have even done, like there's Steph and Gabriella that are also do presentations and other stuff, but I think I may have done that presentation. Okay. So, or no, I didn't. I think Gabriella did it. But you can look at Fund 10 and you can see it, and you can see actual presentation, slide deck and everything. I just didn't realize, like, I'm really unprepared and didn't realize that there was like to have a slide deck. But you can go there and look at it.
Perfect.
And then I'm happy to not only present that, but go further, because we're also working on another thing, because we're working on, you can just indulge me for like 30 more seconds.
Okay.
We're working on weather as well.
Anytime, man.
So, huh?
No, go ahead.
Anytime. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So we're working on weather as well, which is both IoT and weather, because a lot of the use cases, when you actually dig into them, the available sources are not quite enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing a project around weather where we're actually going to go all the way from running our own, well, I should say want to do it. We have it written out and want to do it, and have some people who want to do it with us. All the way from weather stations to having that data on chain and using it for parametric insurance. But the problem is that you cannot take a lot of the existing infrastructure and use it, because it just isn't good enough.
Very
Wonderful.
good. Cool.
We have maybe in the future somebody who's presenting decentralized insurance, so maybe that might be a connection as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
open banking, which we just heard, might be something that we might hear in the future here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've also seen like carbon credits that people want the pricing and want that to be, available kind of cross chain as well. So that's another thing. Like there are all sorts of things. We're kind of trying to take it more from like the ground up all the way through to the data source. And as I was saying, like that's kind of the problem in a way, is that data sources by almost their nature are not going to be decentralized.
Hope so.
So, it is.
Yeah.
So I'll stop there, because I can talk all day.
And we will have you again, I hope. I hope. It was really, really amazing. And thank you so much for joining.
Yep.
Join our Discord. Set up your project item in there, so people know what you're doing and understand what you're doing. Because I got the first touch with one of your projects. That was the browser. I had that at my studies, and then one of my professors, he said, and you need to use the Wolfram browser. And I was like, what is that? And so now when I met you, it was like, wow, this is the guy. So amazing. Thank you so much, John. And with that, we over to Littlefish and Gem. Thank you for patience, everyone. And thanks for the chaos that we all have today. And now it's time for Law and Order. What a transition.
Can I share my presentation here?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
We see it.
Yeah, great. Hi, this is Cem Karaca. I'm an electrical and electronic engineer for more than 25 years, and operating a data center in Turkey. And I made the distributions of HSM devices, especially for the banking system, current banking system, and migrated to Cardano afterwards. So the advent of technological advancements has revolutionized the way we receive the services. In the past, we had to rely on intermediaries for almost every service we received. However, with the technological advancements, we can now receive services directly, making the process more effective and cost-effective. Recently, a forest fire occurred in this area, and I was very eager to go and help. However, due to the situation, I wasn't able to. Later on, a Canadian company cut down 100,000 trees to open a mining field next to our house. We hear such kind of news every day. This is not an isolated incident. As such, events take place all over the world. Even though they are small scale, they are a part of the global extinction. It's crucial to understand that no individual is born with the ownership of this world, and no one has the right to damage it. Sadly, we have greatly disturbed our planet's natural balance and often behave as we have an alternative planet to relocate to. But this is not the case. Scientifically speaking, this is the only planet suitable for life, and we must take responsibility for its preservation. Countries and organizations such as the United Nations and the Greenpeace, have taken responsibility on our behalf. From the perspective of the United Nations, I can say that only the 30% of the donations make it to the intended target. The rest is spent on the bureaucracy, which has only worsened over the time and without transparency. This has led to a decline in the trust in government institutions, forcing individuals to seek alternative solutions to their problems. Blockchains and smart contracts have become increasingly popular as they operate and distribute systems that they cannot be censored in conventional ways. The inspiration for creating Littlefish Foundation came from my professional background in data centers and transformative experience in Cardano community. As someone with 20 years of experience in data centers and IT technologies, I was acutely aware of the limitations of the current internet infrastructure. It is not censor-free, it's centralized and manipulated. This led me to explore alternative technologies like blockchains, smart contracts, and finally I find Cardano. My eureka point came during the Cardano town halls, one of the Cardano town halls, where I find myself in the Cardano for Climate breakout room. The room was filled with people with different countries and all connected with this session. Despite our diverse backgrounds, we were all aligned on one critical issue, the climate change. It struck me then that while technology has often been seen as a part of the problem, it was part of the solution. We all knew climate change was a pressing issue, but until then, we needed the technology to unite like-minded people effectively. In grand scheme of things, we are littlefish compared to large organizations like governments or NGOs. However, we can make significant impact when all these little fishes come together. The realization was the catalyst for me to creation of the Littlefish Foundation. Foundation aims to unite like-minded individuals on common goals, leveraging the power of decentralization and community to tackle some of the world's most pressing issues, starting with climate change. Littlefish Foundation was created to address the need for a transparent and decentralized platform that enables individuals to collaborate on issues and importance to them. It's founded on the belief that empowered individuals can create significant and long-lasting change when they work together. We had some proposals earlier in Fund 8 and Fund 9. Most of them are near to finish in a few months. Littlefish is introducing a new concept of digital activism that enables individuals to earn rewards for their actions that contribute to the greater good. These actions will be converted into non-fungible tokens that can be sold on the open market. The quality, content, and the impact of the action represented by the NFT will determine its price. This is the first time that real-world actions will be represented as NFTs. Our platform will provide a unified system for creating digital organizations. For instance, Cardano for Climate Group can establish a digital organization inside Littlefish Foundation and invite like-minded individuals by examining their ikigai registered on our platform. The concept of ikigai is a set of is the heart of the Littlefish Foundation. Ikigai is a Japanese term. It's the intersection of one's passion, skills, and world needs. It's a guiding principle that helps individuals to find purpose and fulfillment in their work. At Littlefish Foundation, Ikigai is not just a concept, but a practical tool for community building, engagement, and alignment. I will talk about the philosophy a little bit more. The philosophical and societal impact of the Littlefish Foundation extends far beyond the realm of technology and digital activism. The foundation is an experiment in imagining how society can function when empowered individuals come together in a decentralized, transparent, and community-driven environment. Littlefish Foundation is on the verge of experiencing significant growth and making more considerable impact, especially during these times of global concern. We are confident that the world's unique challenges, including climate change, social injustice, and other pressing issues, present a fertile ground for the widespread of adoption of decentralized community-led solutions like Littlefish Foundation. Thank you for listening.
Wonderful, thank you. And I have already joined one of your spaces, and I was incredibly impressed. If you check out my Twitter profile, I was raving for about 2 days or so. It was really, really powerful, great knowledge, and questions were actually answered. Usually you get a question returned in, well, that's too specific, ask a lawyer, when you're asking a lawyer, or book an appointment. And we were actually really discussing things out, and this is amazing. Very approachable. That's my personal experience with what you have built so far.
Thank you, Marcus. This is one of the proposals that we have in Fund 9, and it's about investigating the law and the new world order, and what do we have as a legal right we have to know before doing anything else. So we collected, we have a lawyer team, and they are having articles for us, and we present them on our Medium site. And also you can check tools.littlefish.foundation. They are also there, available there.
Right. What do you want from the people? What should they do?
Good question. When you grow, now I'm 45 years old, you see that the governments and NGOs and other guys that power in their hands has different agenda than we have. So we want to live happily in a good environment, in a good education, and we want justice. We want climate change to stop. But while these institutions were in charge, we see a decline in all of these aspects. So now we have the tools and we have the technology to get together, all of us, like-minded people. So we can show them under one flag of Littlefish Foundation, there can be millions of people supporting the same issue. So we need to get together to go after our goals that I want from people right now.
Very good. That's a statement.
Yeah. Thank you.
Really, really cool. And how should people best participate in Littlefish? Joining the Discord first?
Yeah, first of all, they can join to Discord, and we are building the infrastructure as the Littlefish Foundation will be the first organization inside our application. So while we are building the system, we will need lots of people with lots of experience in different areas of technology and other stuff. So when we released our beta version, they can come and join us, and they can be a part of the system. We can't do it alone, you know.
And I guess you won't.
No,
I think that people are standing in line, and that's pretty cool. And it ties to what we said before. You've been talking about climate, John did, and you've been talking about so many connections about the financial system. And I think all what we had today ties together. If we can build as a community, and that's what we're here for, then we can make it. Yeah, don't chase the money, chase the idea.
Yeah,
And we all will get there. Thank you so much, everybody. That
You're
was
welcome.
amazing.
thank you.
We had the end already.
Yes. Indeed.
That was amazing, guys. Really, it was
Yeah.
chaotic. It was lovely. It was great. And I think we will see Simon. Simon, is it Simon? Simon, I think it is, right?
Simon, yeah, Simon.
Simon.
British, but in Berlin, but British, yeah. So.
And we will
Okay.
see you soon. But Jem and John, and maybe also Delos, maybe you get in touch, because I think you have some ground that you can already share. That's what we're here for, and we see you soon. Thank you, everybody. Mauri, you
you.
say the bye-bye as usual.
No, guys, you've made it splendid, Marcus. Thanks for hosting today. Thanks for all the European Cardano community for another wonderful and marvelous event, and hope to see you in every single community-led event or in the summit in Dubai. And I already see in the chat that Pedro, for example, is going to the one in Portugal, and we are going to be all spreading in Europe and in the rest of the world. So thank you for another marvelous event, and have a wonderful morning, evening, or night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Travel safe.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes.
Ciao.
Ciao. Enjoy.